Well, hello everybody. Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com. Hey, I know a lot of you are fixing to come out of winter time and getting ready to get back to work, or it's been a slower winter season for you. So just kind of want to go over some things that will help you if you'll take care of them between now and when you get started back up, and will help kind of eliminate some frustration. So we'll just go over a few kind of like maintenance things that you can be doing now to get ready for spring coming up next. Okay guys, so one of the first things that I always do is I just kind of go through my J-rods and I actually change all my nozzles right at the beginning of the year. And we have brass nozzles, we have stainless steel, so that you can choose. I use predominantly for soft washing brass nozzles simply because they're cheaper, and with the strong solution of bleach that we use, I've never really found that the stainless steel lasts much longer than the brass. So high pressure, I use the stainless steel, but you can use whatever you want to. That's just a personal preference thing. For me, for soft washing using our Kingslinger, we use the brass nozzles. So it's a good idea to always change these nozzles frequently, but make sure you do it at the beginning of spring. We also, this is a typical J-Rod 4 nozzle that comes with your 4 nozzles, your soap high, your, let's do it this way, soap high, soap low, rinse high. What I do is I use a 3 nozzle holder, and basically what I'm doing is I'm eliminating that rinse high nozzle. The reason I do that is because I don't ever use it. It sits there and just really never gets used. It's very similar to the red tip that comes on a machine. And they can be useful sometimes, every now and then, blowing leaves or whatever, but in a regular house wash, I've never used that 0010 or 20 or whatever it is that might be on your J-Rod. So we have these 3 nozzle holders. That's what I use in both soft washing and pressure washing. And soap high, that's your shooter tip. Then you've got soap low, and then you've got rinse low, shooter tip. Now what I actually do on mine is I put our slingshot shooter tip on it. So mine actually looks like this, but you don't have to do that. I just love that nozzle. Designed it specifically for the way I wanted a shooter nozzle to react and respond, and so that's how mine looks. But you can get just this nozzle and it'll work just fine. So but the main point of this little segment is make sure you change your nozzles out, get those ready. What happens is, as you use these, no matter if it's brass or stainless steel, from pressure and as well as the bleach, these holes will start widening out a little bit, and they won't start spraying. They'll stop spraying as true as they're supposed to. So it's just a good idea. I think we usually change these about 2 or 3 times a year, but heading into spring, it's always a good idea to change out your nozzles on your J-Rod. Okay, the next thing, guys, is you need to make sure that you've got a dental pick or a dental pick set like this, or some type of, you can get cheap little pick sets at Harbor Freight and Home Depot. You don't have to have a dental pick set. We just always use the dental pick set because there's different types of tools in there and curves and all that kind of stuff that you can use. But make sure you have one of those, and also make sure you have bags of O-rings. You need both 1/4 inch and you need 3/8. As I've explained before, everything on a pressure washing system, from the top of the gun, all your fittings are going to be 1/4 inch. So from the top of the gun forward is always going to be 1/4 inch. Your nozzles, the end of your lances, the ends of your wands, the ends of everything is 1/4 inch. From the bottom of the gun going back to the machine, everything is 3/8. So you need 3/8 O-rings for everything from here back to the machine and the hose reels and all that kind of stuff. And then from here forward, you need 1/4 inch. And so what the pick set will do is allow you, let me get the one with the blunt end, watch me. So that basically inside there is an O-ring for you guys that don't know that. But if you pull an O-ring out, that's what it looks like. And so when you put it back in, there's a little seat, a little ridge down in there that you've got to make sure that it gets in there. And so I take the blunt end of the dental pick set and kind of push it down to where it gets right on that seat and just kind of go around, tap, 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 look at it. You just want to make sure it's not wedged up anywhere, okay? So make sure you have a dental pick set or some type of little pointy pick that, like I said, you can get at Harbor Freight. That'll make that job much easier. What happens, guys, is these start getting deformed and they'll actually start shredding. And so if you ever hear your machine when you're off the trigger, so you don't have the trigger pulled, and if you hear your machine do a sound like like that, that most often means that it is an O-ring is leaking somewhere. That's the first thing I go and check. So either at the gun, at the machine, somewhere, it's an indication an O-ring is probably leaking. It should be another it could be another issue, but at 90% of the time, it's always an O-ring. So what we do is just change our O-rings about once a month, every 2 to 3 weeks, something like that, depending on the usage. We sell only the Viton hose O-rings, and so I think you can get 25 in a bag. We have both 1/4 inch and 3/8. So that sound that I was imitating a second ago, I'm not going to do that again. I know everybody probably loved that, but the time that you hear that thing making that noise, I guess I'm going to have to do it. So if it's like that's a bad leak. If there's a little more stalling between that sound, it's probably not as bad. But either way, you want to get it corrected because it can do damage to your pump and your equipment. So O-rings, get all those changed out before you get started this spring. Make sure you've got Viton O-rings because they can handle chemicals as well as a good heat if you've got a hot water machine, okay? Okay, next, guys, let's talk about your downstream injectors. If you're using downstream injectors like I do, I downstream pretty much 70–80% of the time. Go ahead and get your downstream injectors changed out, okay? Especially if you have not used them in a while during the winter time. Just go ahead and get those changed out. Make sure they're good and ready to go when you get started up in the spring. Make sure the O-rings are good. It's just always a good idea too to change all your fittings, especially if you see any little rust on the inside of them or whatever. This is still operating pretty good. What we use is the high performance lubricant to keep these lubricated. I'll be talking more about that in a little bit. Works really, really well. Downstream bypass injectors, make sure those are working great. Go ahead and take out your downstream injector. It's just a good idea. They're like 15 bucks just to replace them, because the last thing you want to happen, you're all excited when spring comes, you're getting out there ready to make some money. You get out there and your downstream injector on the first job won't draw. So my advice is just get it changed out, especially if you've been using it for an extended period of time previously to when you shut down or slowed down for the winter. Also, you might want to check out one of the downstream check valves that we have. These eliminate the ball and the spring inside, and so that allows you to draw a much stronger chemical mix. They say up to 20%. I've never measured it, but it is stronger, and I use them on all of our rigs. Okay, guys, another thing that's always a good idea to have is your Teflon tape as well as your lock seal. So make sure you pick up some of that, available on our website. But you want to make sure you got fresh Teflon ready to go. Just check your stock. If you're low, get some ordered. Also some of the lock seal. We go through and we'll replace all of our fittings, like I was mentioning before, on our hoses. We just kind of like to get everything fresh and new, so that when we hit the trail running, we're ready to go. Plugs, you know, if the plugs are still in fairly good shape, you can take some sandpaper and just kind of sand these down a little bit, especially if you're having problems with them seating, because what happens is every time there's pressure put on, these things kind of do this kind of motion back and forth, and these little bearings right in there will create a little divot right in that part and kind of raise that up. So if you're not, I've always preached to guys, once a week, it's just a good idea on any of your quick connects and sockets on hoses and stuff, make sure you're releasing them and moving them, and that'll help prevent or slow down that divot. What happens is it just kind of gets into a spot and it just keeps digging into this ridge right there, okay? And so sandpaper, channel locks, there's a bunch of different ways guys do it. That'll help smooth that out, but again, during the springtime, we'll just go ahead and replace them all, okay? Make sure you have you a pressure gauge. That will also help you when you're diagnosing issues. If you feel like you're losing pressure or flow, you can put this on. That will help you diagnose. We don't leave it on all the time. We only keep it on there, or we just keep it in the truck, and then we slap it on if we feel like there's an issue going on to check it. I just never found the need to walk over and look at what my pressure is all the time. So that will help you a lot too. I think that's about it, guys. Downstream injectors, just a few little basics. There's a bunch more. Maybe I'll come out with another one in a couple of weeks on some other things that might can help you, but I just wanted to kind of go over some basic low-cost things that will help you guys as you get going in the spring, getting ready to get out there and make some money. Just hate to get out there. This is from experience. Get out there and you didn't do your due diligence in maintaining things and replacing, you know, key items, getting them new, ready to go. So hope this helped you guys. Hey, March 19th and 20th, no, it's just March 19th. It's a Saturday from 8 to noon. Stephen Venturini from Deco Products, Sealing Products, is going to be here, and we're going to do a sealing training. So make sure you get signed up for that. You can go to pressurecleaningschool.com/events. It's completely free, but you do have to RSVP because we need to know how many people are coming. So make sure you go there and get registered for that. Again, that's March 19th on a Saturday, 8 to noon. So get signed up for that, man. It'd be a great thing to add to your existing business. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you get notifications, and leave me a comment or a question, and I'll be glad to help you out. And then don't forget my monthly schools every month. Our next one is February 14th and 15th. I think we got 5 or 6 signed up already. So that's right here in Houston, Texas. And we appreciate everybody. Hope y'all are having an awesome week getting ready for spring. And we'll talk to you soon. Be blessed. Good is the enemy of great. There isn't any reason why you can't take your good pressure washing business and turn it into a great exterior cleaning business.